Birth, legacy, death, afterlife. My most basic beliefs and understandings about God and how the world is run. Birth, what is considered the passing down of genes. The individual born has now become the legacy of his or her parents. A sense of immortality. If you are not a being that can sustain infinitely, then the only other way to obtain immortality is to pass down one's genes to another. Death, the cease of one's brain functioning. Afterlife, God. Science admits but does not promote the idea that if a being existed that could move faster than the expansion of our universe, then that being would technically not have to abide by the laws within our universe. The universe started from a point. Also, anything that exists in our universe must have a beginning. This would mean that the Christian God could actually be a reality. The world. We are born into a world full of good and evil, truth versus falsehood, correction versus compromise. What is considered truth today may be false tomorrow, based on the beliefs of the majority. Truth is something that is in itself unchangeable and cannot contradict itself. However, in this era we live in, that is completely up to interpretation and is eventually decided on by those in power. We have parents. Those parents are supposed to raise their kids to the best of their ability. Children are put through school and must survive and adapt to the environment that they are in, while unknowingly dealing with other students who could have family issues worse or better than they have. On top of that, they are being taught information by teachers who may or may not love their job, and they too have their own personal problems in life to deal with, and beliefs that can affect the stability of many generations to come. Great amount of time passes. Elementary school through college. Most make it through. Now you graduate high school and have a college picked out. Probably don't have a clue what you want to do. In all that time spent in school, your knowledge was based on a system that is already corrupt and full of compromises. So I ask you this. Can compromises at this point be a good thing or not for the school system? Your education is regurgitated to you by teachers, which can include parents, etc. These teachers must occasionally go back to school to learn new information and evolve with the times. All these things are happening, but people still do not realize one big question. Who is actually running the show? Since school is a complicated community, it must adhere to the beliefs of everyone. Who makes the decision to choose what goes and what does not? Public school is free. You just go there and obey basic rules while doing what they tell you to do and passing your classes to progress and move on to the next grade. The person or groups of individuals who run the school system controls what teachers can and cannot teach. However, are the things taught to students meant to benefit the students, society, or a mindset that incorporates the control growth of the next generation into our society? Due to compromise, religion is frowned upon. In the Christian religion, there are many things discussed in it that would technically not help build our society in the way that this system would want it to be. For example, the Christian belief of giving to the poor or being able to forsake all for God, figuratively or literally, is something that would go against the school system. Let's not forget that the school system is technically run by a large entity, the government and the wealthy. Think about it. Think about it deeply. Public school is free. Nothing is free. It is funded by the government, and guess what? Governments are always corrupt in some way, which means the system that they fund are 90% of the time also corrupt. We are taught that certain things are good and other things are bad. We are rewarded with an A, B, or C, which means excellent, great, or good work. A chemical pleasure is then produced in our brain, which leads us to unknowingly take pride in the accomplishments because we believe that person knows the answers, or better said, the truth of the matter/subject at hand. The school system is not built to make you the best person you can be, but an individual that is able to benefit society in some way or form given the basic education to do so. This is not technically a bad thing, however, lies are hidden within this actuality. This very basic truth and understanding shown to me through wisdom is why I love the Bible. Understanding both perspectives can help people realize the truth. Even if one did not believe in the Bible, one can still acquire wisdom that comes from understanding the meanings presented through the stories and preachings in the Bible. This helps me understand many things on a deeper level and from another perspective. Before and when I started reading the Bible, my goal was to try and understand all perspectives and people while deducing the truth from them. So let's continue. Now you're in college and believe that whatever you choose to do in life will help you get a good job in the future. You make friends. You have the basic idea to have fun, but at least get your work done at the same time. This is what I would consider to be the average college student. Earlier I asked, is compromise a good thing or not? Honestly, I can say yes and no. Compromise is good because it allows people to tolerate others and not get whatever they believe in infringed upon to an extent. So in the sense, compromise is good. However, what if compromise allows a lie or a false belief to blossom, which then causes the downfall of many people? Understand, when I say this, I don't just mean in a religious sense. For example, let's say you have a group of friends. In the group, you may not like to do certain things that the rest of them like to do because you know it's wrong. The simple compromise would be, don't do it and let your friends do whatever it is that they want to do without you. Though there's a catch. If you don't do it, they will most likely not be your friend anymore. And already, people have a tendency to not know self-worth, which means they will please others before doing the right thing so they won't feel demeaned. Knowing what they are doing is wrong, you still allow yourself to indulge in the false activity and convince yourself that it is okay. And now your belief has changed. Once you start believing in a lie to compromise with others, this is a huge problem. You and your friends will indefinitely start believing in that lie and make it the truth. When enough people start to defend that lie and tell everyone else that it is the truth, that just spreads more false beliefs. Compromise can and will cause some sort of confusion. Confusion is a doozy because after it is presented, what can we base the truth on? Due to this, we are depressed and do not know what to believe in. If you're born or live in a falsehood, you normally commit your life to something, not realizing that is not the truth. So before I get too deep, let's just kind of recap, talk about everything again. Alright, so friend tells you do drugs, just so I can give you guys an example. So we all know that's bad. So friend tells you do drugs. You know drugs are bad. You do drugs to not lose friend, which is the compromise. Let me tell you how's the compromise. Do drugs equal keep friends on the very basic level of understanding for it. You then put your friends over the truth and will spread that lie because now you've indulged into it. Now, I'm not saying this is for all cases, but this is for majority of it. Look at the world we live in. So now let me just go ahead and move on to an older point. As I said before, our government is corrupt and controls everything that we do, as well as know. It all starts from basic education from elementary school. We are forced to trust this corrupt government, which leads to many of the seen and unseen issues we have today. At the start of your journey through life, things seem okay, and the government is keeping everything flowing. This false sense of security is used to gain your trust. So we trust them, and we're ultimately betrayed in the end due to compromises. Going through the system, you will come out more or less depressed. Riches, power, and fame are all lies produced by the system to keep people believing in it. Then once you've obtained it, you will realize it was worth nothing. I like to think about the reality of how a lot of things did not exist hundreds of years ago that make people rich and famous today. But we still get tricked by the system to believe and promote that this is the only way to live and to be happy. Since that is not the truth, and our system is ran by corrupt people, those who trust in them are doomed to have misled lives. Everyone can't be rich. Everyone can't be millionaires. Those on top realize this, and for good or bad, compromises are made. Now that a person has grown old and lived their life believing in this system, they realize that they have found nothing in it. God and truth is not something people want to hear. It is not something that is good for market and will not help keep the rich in power. I said before, truth cannot contradict truth. And to not understand something fully does not mean it is not true. However, I say this, if truth cannot contradict itself, and the system we are forced to believe in is a lie to an extent, then the words and wisdom of life in the Bible lived accordingly will show people what they really should believe in.